Hello again. Welcome back to Songs of Syx. A very sibilant name, Songs of Syx. Hopefully it doesn't sound too bad on the microphone, but anyway. We left off at around 300 population, just trying to shore up our meat supply with some new Balticrawler production, as well as a big auroch pasture to make some leather on the side. Yes. And also kind of slowly closing in on having this clay pit working for us, which is quite important because we need humidifiers to keep the Garthimi loyal. So kind of just going to be waiting for a moment before that gets done. Or rather, until that gets done. We're also just finishing up excavating an area that we'll be able to mine stone from, but that's not really a huge pressure because we've got so much of the stuff just lying around from all of the excavations in the first place. Yeah, so that's not going too bad overall, I would say. Just quickly check. Did we? Yeah, we did research paved roads. We're also sat on quite a bit of innovation right now, which means we could make some stuff more efficient here. If I had more Garthimi, then I could do Balticrawlers, but I do not. Where else could we innovate? This is all knowledge. Unlocking stuff is typically knowledge, whereas improving stuff is innovation, usually, I think. Well, I'm probably going to want to improve clay extraction because it's incredibly slow as a base. But that does just involve waiting for it to actually finish. But I'm pretty sure one of the other things we did in the previous episode is make quite a bit more carpentry. Yeah. I'm saying in the last episode and, saying quite a bit more carpentry as though it wasn't the first episode, so everything that we did was completely new. Oh dear, our lost Borton is being sick. He's ill with vision fever. Well, that sucks to be him, I guess. We are going to need more housing as well. So I realised that there is actually a roundness. There you go. I can actually have an overlay here to show me where is considered square and where is considered round. The Garthimi, of course, like round. But it's interesting. It doesn't necessarily... It means they like to be, the way that it's actually calculated in game anyway, is, as you can see, it means they like to be near round things, not necessarily inside of a round building. So you can make all of their housing round and it makes them happy to be around it. It's, yes, weird. And I think I should be able to just kind of put a little rounded kind of thing. I don't know for 100%, but I think if I just kind of cap these buildings off like this, then this will have the desired effect? Question mark. Let's find out. Quickly get those built, and then take a look at this overlay again. Yeah, there you go. That's now round. So, just something to keep in mind. Just kind of tagging on little bits to buildings. It's kind of, I don't know, I don't think I would describe it as cheesy. It's not necessarily the way I would maybe like to do it, but in places where I've sort of already built up and I'm not really able to kind of retroactively round off my buildings, struggling to actually make it work on this one, to be fair. There you go. So it kind of, it seems to just have to be like a little spur like this. It needs to have more than one tile of depth to it, basically. Let's just test that here. What if I put a little like sort of edge onto this bit of housing here? Okay, so that doesn't do it. But if I did that, then now that's round. Yeah, it's a little weird, but kind of good to know how to slightly game that when you need to, because this will make them much happier to be around. Again, it feels slightly funny to say to be around the round building. It's not funny at all, but you know, easily amused. Even if I'm just making it not square, it's better than nothing. Alright, we are actually nearly there with the clay pit, which is going to give us a path to quite a bit of happiness in a number of different ways here, which we will address. Or which, rather, I will address one by one once we get this working. But the other thing I need to be wary of is that this is going to want to use a lot of workforce. Yes, they wanted to employ 400 and something people there, which obviously isn't gonna work right now. So I'm just going to employ 30 something, and then I'm going to make more housing, because as I use this clay, let's just do long houses here. As I start to use this clay to improve the lives of my Garthimi subjects, we're going to have some more people show up pretty quickly, I suspect. So I'm just going to make some kind of slightly oddly shaped buildings here, just for the purposes of, you know, roundness, as we were just talking about it so much. It's an interesting interpretation of the meaning of roundness, in my opinion, but whatever. And I'm assuming that I do have somewhere set to store this clay. I mean, I have a hauler here, so it's being brought to the hauler. But I don't know if I set up a kind of larger warehouse for the stuff. Not that one. I may just copy this warehouse here and have one for clay. Probably closer to the residential, though. I'm going to actually pop it over here and just slightly adjust this structure with its little... For some reason I want to call them bone spurs, which are obviously, you know, an entirely different and bad thing, but... I'm making them out of mud just to save on resources, but really I should probably make them from stone. Let's make a cobblestone road. For people to get over there on. And just generally kind of link the place up. But one of those things that I was talking about that we can use the clay for now, once we actually get any of it taken anywhere. Just out of curiosity as well, we are making about 50 per day. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a load of innovation improving that, which should, yeah, double it up to 108 per day, just off of 32 workers, which is not many people at all for a clay pit, so that will be able to output quite a lot more than that in the near future. So, right, the things I can use this clay for. Number one, most importantly, I think, is those humidifiers, which Garthimi need basically all of their space to be kind of covered by. You see, they produce humidity in a radius like this, so you just kind of want to spam them about anywhere. I kind of take a how would I say? I kind of take like a, for some reason I keep wanting to say drunken master approach to this, which is basically just to say that I try not to be like super consistent and you know, predictable with these things. I mean, you know, they're literally gross little pulsating mud piles that make the air moist. I feel like they should be somewhat randomly placed. I kind of need them to get done as well pretty soon, because I think it will give us that influx of migrants that I'm needing. I currently have people leaving, actually, which is really very upsetting. If we could just get a couple of them built, please. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and take a couple of crates of grain, replace them with clay there so that they can get stored and used, because I don't think it can actually be used from a hauler. I could be wrong. I'm almost certainly wrong, but there we go. Now we're starting to get some of those built. Again, I could be slightly wrong, but I think as soon as we get the place kind of humidified, we'll have a bit of a population influx. Because, what is it? Is it services? No. Environment, surely. Humidifier, yeah. But I just can't quite get a consistent workforce on it. Just pulling from other things to make it happen, basically. Right, one of the other things is the fungus roads. Yes, the fungus roads, which I kind of like to just place all over the place using the brush tool. Because again, this is supposed to be like a, you know, gross, nasty hive flooring. It should definitely not be placed with a square tool at the very least. Come on. It's gotta be kind of weird and natural. I think of it like creep. You know, like Zerg creep. Like it's just being spread all over the floor by the nasty, vile Garthimi. And it goes through quite a lot of clay. But, you know. Hey, I can actually probably increase food servings. That'll make people considerably happier. And maybe help us get some more workforce here, because the lack right now is rough. Not enough people to do all the jobs. Mainly referring to building this warehouse. And the paving, but here we go. The number's starting to go up now as we build this fungus road. Is that going to show in the environment here as well? Road preference? Yeah, that's increasing. Very good. Very good. So the Garthimi actually prefer to just live in caves. Live and work, rather, in caves. So, at a certain point, I really should just be digging into the mountain. Considerably more. What if I did just make a big circular space in the mountain like that? See how many houses I can fit in there. And whether that does anything good for us. Speaking of housing, please hurry up and build this housing, because we don't have enough for everybody right now. I think the main holdup is a lack of stone, which I said wouldn't be a problem because we're digging so much of it up, but it's not really being hauled fast enough is the problem. Where is our kind of main stone storage right now? If I even really have a main stone storage. Well, this is stone storage. I'm going to go ahead and employ some more delivery people there. Because it feels like not enough hauling is happening. Common problem in colony management games for me, for some reason. Always feels like the case in RimWorld and Dwarf Fortress and everything, basically. So, throughout the last week or so, I actually have read, I genuinely somehow just stumbled onto a thread talking about making a Garthimi, an entirely Garthimi city in this game. And one of the things that people were saying is really important is the meat. It cannot be overstated how much meat you need to make. The Garthimi really like meat. So we are not making enough. So I need to find a nice big moist area to farm a load more bolter crawlers in. The obvious choice, I guess, being, as we're kind of already doing over here, with the kind of riverside stuff here. And what I was seeing was people basically just saying, just make them pretty much max size, just max them out. So that's pretty close to what I'm doing there. It's gonna take 1.2k wood and 1,000 stone as well. But, you know, it'll make meat, so that's pretty good. It's just one of the quirks of being Garthimi. So it looks like we have no clay at the moment, but obviously it's just because we're using hundreds of it to put all of this fungus road down. So that's just going to be like a big kind of clay sink for a long time. It is what it is. So, could I actually... Maybe I'm doing this wrong. If I know that a... what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3 makes a house here. Could I just dig little 5 by 3? I could just place a house in there, presumably. just do it Dwarf Fortress style, which is obviously one of the games that I would like to play on this, or in this kind of type of content. Seems like a very obvious choice. Cancel that job. Don't dig that. People who are trapped. Oh, right, that's fine. They are now untrapped. That'll happen. That'll happen from time to time. Try not to worry about it too much. So if they could finish digging that out, there we go. Now we can just go and place a house in there. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty efficient way of doing it, isn't it? Right, yes, that's probably how I'm going to want to do a lot of buildings. So if I were to just build a big long hallway here, I can make a lot of those. Yes, this seems like a good way to do it. Very Dwarf Fortress coded, obviously, but... Well, I was going to say... But that's not a problem. I don't think anybody would say that is a problem. Ah, this warehouse got built. This is where I'm planning on storing a shed load of clay, basically. Kind of weird not to just... Well... Nah, don't worry about it. Now, I'm noticing that a lot of people are just cutting straight across. Down from the clay pit, straight up north. And with the warehouse there, that's only going to get worse, so I'll just build a road there. If people are going somewhere, build a road. I'm going to go ahead and increase the clay workforce to above 50, because at that point we'll get a bonus to productivity. There we go. So that's now making 196 clay per year? No, daily. That's daily. Nice. Very good. Yes, I even say that live. So, to add on to the list of things that we can do with clay to make people happier, one of those things is just straight up give it to them. So, if we go into furniture, in their house, we can provide them clay. Yeah. Fancy that. Which will apparently cost us 94 clay per year, which I think we can sustain. I think we can sustain considerably more than that, but let's just trial this by giving them two of the potential 4 clay that they're allowed to furnish their homes with. And then as it becomes available, it will be distributed to them at a market here. See? There is currently none stored there, but it's possible. It will be possible, I assure you. So they are happy that they now have access to... Okay, that they now have access to some more housing. They are eating more. Oh. Rot and pus. We're being contacted by... Okay, I'm paying them for protection. I think this just means that they're going to raid me if I don't pay up. And I certainly haven't made any military, so that's just going to have to happen. Their access to lavatories is currently going down. I probably need to make another one. Yeah. Same at this point for pretty much everything. I think the population has just kind of outgrown how much of various things we made. So I'm going to go ahead and put a speaker and a well in here. Probably drop a couple of humidifiers in this space as well. Something like that. Just stick them in the hall as well, I guess. Why not? I'm assuming this will make people's movement slightly less efficient, but it'll make the air more wet, and that's also required. Where is all of our clay going right now? Is it just being used to slowly fill people's houses with furniture? I think so. There we go, the number is finally maybe starting to go up. The amount stored, I mean. This is probably going to be considered very square. But I think I'm just gonna... That's just going to be fine for now, I think. Should I just replicate this lavatory? If I just popped it down here to kind of anticipate future expansion. I mean, obviously I could also just plan to put it in the mountain like that. Oh, in fact, kind of the fact that you can do that way is very helpful. I'm gonna see if I can like round off the entrances here. Start thinking about this as a bit more of a mountain. Almost want to say mountain home. And just start making random shapes in the mines, and then we'll fill them kind of, you know, whenever. I'm assuming I can place, yeah, torches as decoration, which would kind of help with how this looks, but the Garthimi don't actually like that, so I probably shouldn't. What I should be doing is some exporting. I have plenty of livestock, so let's go ahead and export up to half of our current capacity. There you go, 50%. Found it in the end. Nothing else immediately obvious to export. Excuse me. Mouth making noises. And we still need to focus on getting more meat. This is going to take a very long time to build, though, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Perhaps we need to get this stone mine going, because we can also give the people stone. No, not round. We can also give the people stone. This is going to take a long time to build if I want it to be efficient. It's a little bit weird that I can't see the... well, anything here. But okay. Yes, this is going to be very expensive indeed. But at least it will now be efficient when it's finished. Now there's gems here. I think I did already check this. It costs... Ah, dang. I could have... If I hadn't improved my clay extraction, I could have unlocked the gem mine, which probably, if I had to guess, would have been a pretty good export. I don't know much, but I do know that gems are typically fairly valuable. What are our people complaining about? Some rooms have problems with workload. Okay. Not all that useful without showing me which. But, alright then. I'll take your word for it. Can't do much about that without, again, knowing which they're talking about. Probably the warehouses, if I had to guess. No, maybe not. Perhaps I shouldn't guess then. Workload is low on the Bolter Crawler breeder, apparently. I can just set that to auto-employ. In fact, they all are, so I'm just going to do that. I guess there's no reason not to do that for Auroch pastures as well. It's not going to run wild or anything. Can I just generally look at all my production and stuff here? Yeah, kind of. Ah, yeah, here we go. So apparently my bakery also has slightly low workload. That's, yes, because I don't have enough grain. Which I could probably resolve with a big fat farm. Don't have a incredible spot to put one, but a slightly less fertile farm is still a farm. So we're going to go ahead and make another grain farm over here. Right, how are they feeling about the roads? They are like 30% happy with the kind of roads that they're on, which is, you know, something. They still want humidifiers. They want humidifiers everywhere. It feels generally like it's impossible to fulfill this, but it basically means turn on the well, don't turn on the overlay, but rather go into placing humidifiers and just desperately try to fill the whole place with this blue. Which again is, I mean, if you try to do it in any organized way, I feel like it's not right. It's gross pulsating humidifiers. They're supposed to be strewn around all over the place. Could be a bit more organized when you're going down the roads, I guess, but around the population centers, I feel like it should be pretty random. Efficiency be damned. We're a colony of bug people. A colony of bug people which are completely undefended still. Definitely something that needs resolving. But I don't feel like I have the population to spare right now, though. Unfortunately. So I think we'll go undefended a bit longer still. We're going to run out of food. This is actively occurring to me. If I could get to 500 people, I could make my bolter crawler breeders more efficient. But I don't. If we start starving, then the number's definitely not going to go up, put it that way. Let's export some furniture. Because there is a future in which I have to import some meat real quick, and that future is probably right now. Let's try and, well, let's do that. It certainly is not cheap, though. Oh, it's really not cheap, actually. It's actually very expensive. And livestock is very cheap. I thought livestock was normally quite expensive. That's tough. That's very tough indeed. By the way, I'm just going to say now, throughout this series, I'm not going to say guaranteed, but it is relatively likely that I will end up starting again. Because this is the kind of game where you just do that. It's, at least for me anyway, it's the kind of game where it's likely that I'm going to be not getting this right the first, third, fifth, 10th time. But perhaps eventually. It certainly does look like we're about to starve to death, doesn't it? Perhaps I can just encourage some immediate hunting to try and get us afloat. Let's see. Did I at least make humidifiers better? Environment. 7%. Damn. It's hard to make the place humid. I feel like I've got pretty good coverage. Do they like it if they overlap? It does make the heat map brighter, so possibly they actually want it to be really humid. Good and wet. I think we're probably gonna starve. I don't think it's looking good for us. I sort of need a grain harvest to make a new grain farm, you know, the age-old problem. Oh hey, at least this new bolter crawler breeder is about to be built. That isn't going to do much for us though, because it takes quite a long time to really truly come online. once it does, it will probably make kind of comparable meat. But we eat so much meat. We eat so much meat. We should probably just get building the next one straight away. And you know what? The next one. And the next day. And the next day. And the next day, as a wise man once said. Should these be built underground? Maybe. But I don't know how moist it is underground is the problem. It's pretty moist, but not everywhere. It's not guaranteed. Moisture is not guaranteed just because you're underground, you see. Okay, we did get a grain harvest there. Which means for a moment at least we can bake bread and feed people. And we also managed to get our new grain farm seeded. So that will help a little bit, but really the focus is on the meat. We have no money. We spent all the money on meat. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Are hunters a good band-aid solution? Genuinely don't really know, so I'm just going to go ahead and build a couple over here and see what it does for me. It feels like it's a more immediate solution than the Balticrawler breeders, at least. On account of them just taking so long to come online. And of course being much larger construction projects, because they have to be very, very large to produce any reasonable amount of meat. But I have assumed that hunters are kind of a... How am I trying to... I've assumed that they're like somewhat realistic, like they actually have to be able to go out and hunt an actual population. Like I told my people to go out and just kill a load of animals, and now these hunters are producing less meat as a result, I think. You know, I can make them more effective, though. With research. Ooh, apparently now they make 60 meat per day. Wow. Well, that might help us out of this mess, then. Quick, build the hunters. Of course, now we have no furniture. I think I sold it all. We sold all of the chairs, and now our hunters have nowhere to work. The age-old problem. Every growing city does it. I can spend clay to get more research. So, you see everybody run out of the laboratory, go and grab their clay, bring it back to the laboratory and presumably, I don't know, experiment on it. Yes, clay. Yes. This is clay. Yes, indeed. And that should give us some more innovation to play with, which I would be using to improve the hunters further. Assuming they are built before everybody starves to death. least finish building it. Why did they leave construction at 99%? Thank you. So yeah, that's making 49 meat, apparently. And I believe it brought these ones down as well. Like, I think that they are essentially sharing... They are sharing meat. I think. I don't know. But I think that they're sort of sharing the same pool of animals on the map. Can only really build more and sort of wait and see whether or not that appears true. But in the meantime, my population is starving, which is leaving me with very few people available to work on building. Okay, this Baltic Crawler breeder is now making 55, as most but not all of its animals are adult. So that's pretty good. Yeah, as its animals grow up, that number can end up, what, like 65 or something? So I think we can dig ourselves out of this meat hole. I think that the fastest way to do that would be to build these hunters first. Please work people. There we go. A new level has been bestowed upon my name, Aprontix. This gives me 50 knowledge just off the bat and unlocks embassies. So 50 knowledge is useful. That can certainly be used to do some things. Like we can unlock the upgrades to the lavatory, for example. I did earlier unlock the market upgrade, but I believe I then quickly learned that to actually implement it costs some material that I don't have. Was that right? Yes, it costs pottery, which I could make. In fact, now there's surely a good idea. If I want something to sell, surely, the bug people can make some cool pottery. Right? Surely. Let me just make a slightly phallic building so that it's round. Fill it with workbenches. This feels like a quite efficient building. Let's let's make some slight changes here. Feels like an unnecessarily efficient building is what I would say. There we go, that's how you do it. That right there, as Steve would say, is some gourmet chow. Right, that's going to be pretty expensive, and then it will employ 52 people. And I have no idea how much clay that will use. But we'll find out. Did I start manufacturing clothes, by the way? I can't actually remember. I don't believe I did. We definitely should. I think essentially what's happened is I have gotten too kind of caught up with trying to expand and meet certain needs, that I may have neglected some basics in the process. Which would be very on-brand for me. That is very much how I play video games. I quite like this new style of building, where it's just basically covered in warts. So I am about to build a potter's building and a tailor without having enough workers to actually staff it, which is, of course, very questionable. Oh, that's where all of my furniture was going. Of course, the stone mine. Yeah, that'll do it. That will do it. Oh, I'm also not actually accepting more immigrants right now. Let's bump that number to 500. And of course, it would be prudent to stop accepting immigrants and instead breed, because I believe most races in Songs of Syx prefer to be natives. So you see here that my plebeians dislike immigrants making up most of the population, and they would prefer if they were natives. And currently we are at a ratio of 1 to 0, which is not ideal. I'm just going to take this moment, by the way, to talk about, now that I've actually published some of these, kind of how I feel about it and how it's going. This sort of, I don't want to say experiment, but this content on the VODs channel. I think people like it. It's doing fine. Positive comments. I'm not a... The only main problem is that I'm not... I haven't immediately become a trillionaire, which was what I expected to happen, so... I mean, we'll give it a bit more time and see if that happens in the next few days, but, yeah, we can only kind of wait and see on that. I don't know if the microphone just picked up my neck there, but... if it did, either enjoy or I'm sorry. I suspect that would be 50-50. Right, yeah, I have, like, no available workforce right now. And I don't really know where to steal people from, because I need some people just to do basic building tasks. What are these people all doing? Oh, they're all tailors. Oh, that's why I have no workforce, is because the tailor finished. So let's just half the number of people that can work there, but that will basically mean we can actually provide them with clothes now, because that they arrive with clothes, I think. Anyway, and then their need for clothes will have been going unfulfilled this whole time. We can probably give them some more clay for their homes as well. The Garthimi furnishings consist of clay and rocks. I haven't been giving them any rocks yet, because we're not mining for rocks, we're just picking them up from the ground currently. So I don't want to well, you know. I'm sure you know. I'm wondering if I should be putting any of my innovation into, like, grain farming. I think I probably should, because we're not making enough. I may be too quick to spend my innovation, but you know, it's okay. Because like, although I am currently actually sat on a completely full stockpile of bread, I also currently have 0 grain, so I feel like I should have some in reserve. I was supposed to put a food stall down here, by the way. One will fit. There you go. Very good. To see how access to that service food stall. I feel like I should be able to somewhere see a kind of, is it distribution food stall? I thought I should be able to see like a heat map of where has access to food stalls, but maybe not. Man, I really just need to build like infinite humidifiers, don't I? See, this is showing 13% humidifier right now. Can I see one of the spots where it's overlapping? Yeah, that shows 25. So do they really just want them to like completely line the walls? Let me just go ahead and really spam some down. Like, properly spam. All around this theatre. It's absolutely covered in the things. What happens then? So now we have 63% humidifier access. Wow, so you really do just have to spam the things with that moist stench. That's tough. That's a lot of humidifiers that need built. How is clothing going now? Yes, access is increasing. Very good. This Baltic crawler breeder landed at 66 production. These ones are, I guess, eventually going to be built. We have more hunters now, but the more meat I produce, the more they eat, basically. So far, I have not been able to overcome my population's hunger. Partially because whenever I have more meat, more population shows up. Because their food preference is, by far and away, meat. So we're basically going to be waiting for these Baltic crawler breeders to be built, which is happening incredibly slowly. I think at least in part because my population lives really far away from there. I should probably build some more housing kind of in this area. Let me just slow the game down a bit while I do that. I'm not totally sure. I don't feel great about them living in these kind of splintered groups, but I do think that I have to do that, essentially. Just give the building some nipples. You know how it goes. How are they feeling about the footpaths as well, by the way? Road preferences, 24%. So I still need to put a load more of that down. In fact, there is an overlay for path usage, yeah. So with this one, I can see where they're walking, and they're walking down these cobblestone roads a lot, which are considerably faster roads than the gross Garthimi stuff, but they prefer to walk on the gross Garthimi stuff, so I'm going to paint down squiggly lines of the gross Garthimi stuff. For the sole purposes of making them happy. Feel free to be upset about me using squiggly lines, by the way. It is what it is. There is all of this space over here as well that needs some paving. That will probably help a little bit. And this is going to deplete my clay, which I hope doesn't cause any major problems. Right, let's turn off that overlay so we can see again. This pottery building is going to be finished construction soon, which is good, but it is going to cause us some slight problems with workload, or rather workforce. Hopefully that's something we can resolve. We're producing 28 clothing per day and equipping 6. I think I can give them more clothes by giving them, access to 2 clothing per subject. I can make them happier, and I'm pretty sure I can support that. I'm pretty sure I can support that. I could probably also make people happier if I tacked on another warehouse for storing grain and bread, just because it would increase our number of food days available, since our bread storage is currently completely full. With the second grain farm online, we are actually now stockpiling the stuff, which is very good. I'm just going to go ahead and make these buildings some nipples. Uh-oh. My monitor is freaking out. Uh-oh. Alright, let's not do that, please. Just gonna pause the recording while I solve that. Alright. Yeah, unfortunately that did start happening yesterday. I think that the power supply for my second monitor is bad somehow. No big deal. Hopefully. It is a monitor that came with me from the UK and I had to buy a US power supply for, so it's essentially a cheap I want to say replica power supply. It's not original. It is, made to work with my monitor, but yeah, it didn't come from LG, put it that way. Alright, we're pretty close to hitting 500 Garthimi, which is an important milestone because it unlocks the further increases to bolter crawler productivity. Actually at 510 it turns out, not 500, but that would let us increase productivity, I believe, by double, or by plus 1.10, but it would also cost 40 more innovation, I think. So not great. What do they enjoy working as, the Garthimi, I wonder? Employment, there we go. So, they like working in the mines, they don't like working in the farms, they love working as Balticrawler breeders. They don't like working in laboratories. That's what I was looking for, really, was checking whether or not they enjoyed working in the labs. Because I'm going to need more innovation, but I don't want to make them unhappy by employing more of them in a place they don't want to work. I think I probably just make a few more hunters. They like that. And it makes meat. And they like that. Is this a dude just going crazy over here? Yes, he is. He's, being insane. Thinks it is a Cantor nobleman. Alright. Well, fine. Live your best life, buddy. I have managed to run our clay supply down to 0. And we also have 0 workforce all of a sudden. I'm wondering what completed to lead to that. Ah, the pottery. Or the potter. Harry Potter. So, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and limit that to half. Because of course I don't want to... I don't want all of our clay to disappear. We need it. For many things. A lot of it has disappeared to make this path that I just told them to build, of course. So there is that. There is that. There's quite a lot of meat just sitting in the hunters right now, I can't help but notice. Perhaps there's not enough people working the warehouses. I don't think I have any meat storage anywhere really close, to be fair. I am finding it quite hard to sort of manage the employment in these warehouses. If I just set them to auto-employ, where do they kind of wind up? They don't seem to change at all. Oh, yes, they are now. Okay, they are now adjusting. Because it feels like a lot of meat is being left literally on the table down here. There is, well, 40, 50. There's hundreds of meat in here. Do I need a hauler closer? Or did I set the... Ah, okay. I think I set the radius on this maybe a little too low. So now the hauler who works here, and I'm going to go ahead and employ a second hauler. And also I'm going to increase my automatic approval of immigrants to 600 there, as we fly past the 500 mark. Yes, now the hauler, there he is doing his job, is taking the meat to this, which then gets picked up by the warehouses. Okay, that should help, I think. Alright, we are also now making pottery. Is it valuable? Sell price 100. Not enormously. What are we selling currently? I can't remember. I have been selling some livestock and furniture. both things that I could conceivably keep selling, but I'm going to swap out livestock for pottery. Set the storage percent to 50. I will be using some of it to upgrade my food stalls, as I kind of discovered earlier. Was it the market or the food stall? It was the market I unlocked. So that costs some stone, furniture and pottery to do, and that would make people quite happy. I don't currently actually have any stone though, so it's not enormously relevant. Let's go ahead and tell them to go and get a load. There's plenty of it on the ground. But we will also start mining it pretty soon. We've run out of housing. Have we? There's vacant housing right here. So why is it showing negative housing? That has me slightly confused. I do not know. Well, I'm not going to question it too much. It's probably too far from their workplace, so I'm going to go ahead and build some housing out here, kind of further. Oh, I'm actually already doing that. They were just missing the stone to build this for the last however long it's been. So if we just speed up time, that will happen. And we now have 526, which is, as I was talking about, enough to improve Baltic crawler breeding methods more. Very good. Copy area. I want to basically make the same again. I think that works. And our city is now apparently impressive enough to attract a tourist. A Cretonian pilgrim by the name of Devilla Blackwidge has arrived. They're looking for an inn to stay, and they want to visit a fruit farm and a well. Okay. I don't think I can make an inn. So, good luck, I think. No, I would have to invest in the tourism tech. I do not know where that is. I really do not know where that is. Civic? Yes, it is Civic. Well, I could unlock it and make one. But do I actually want to? Do I want to encourage these foul people to show up? Well, I should definitely research nurseries, because I really need to start breeding bugs. I really need to start breeding bugs. It's a funny thing to say, but it's true. I do. I could get a housing upgrade here, but I think that would cost, what, fine stone? Which isn't something I'm currently producing. Room upgrade. Is there actually... Can I see what that would cost? Requires tech basements. Well, I'm going to go ahead and unlock it, but I think it costs fine stone, yeah. Is that what that's called? Cut stone. Which, to be fair, I will start making pretty soon. But I do need to be actually mining stone, realistically. before I do that. We have so much bread. It's just that bread isn't really what I want. I'm going to go ahead and make a new, or rather another laboratory here, because I would like to be able to, unlock the further bolter crawler improvements, because that has to be my path to greater meat. My path to greater meatdom. Are we actually successfully exporting pottery yet? We must be. Of course, I can also be using pottery to... apologies for loud vehicle. I don't actually think I have sold any pottery yet. Why is that? Oh, because my storage isn't 50% full, of course. I can use pottery to make booze, right? Brewery turns pottery, coal and grain into drink. So if I could just farm even more grain, which I think I will, then I can start to make some booze, which I'm assuming these people like. Piva and cheddar. Yeah, they like booze, right? Drink preference. It's not a huge deal for them. Wow, they really, really like access to clothes, huh? And having more drink. Okay, that's interesting. They don't care as much which drink they get, but having access to their drink is actually very important. As are wells. So, okay, I could have been... I'm now realizing what I should have been doing this whole time probably is actually paying more attention to what these people, or what these bug people, value more or less. So they really value access to wells. So I should have probably looked into the fancy wells and learned what that upgrade costs, which I'm assuming is going to be cut stone. Yes, indeed. I'm gonna have to make a stone cutter. Which I need to unlock. Yes. Where is that unlocked? Dare I ask? Down here. The masonry. Costs 15 innovation, so when I make this laboratory, that's something to remember. Having access to cut stone will open many doors for us. So, for brewery, I'm going to go ahead and put this here. Not forgetting to make it slightly rounded and weird, of course, because we are the bugs. And that's what we do. Make very big kettles. My building philosophy in Songs of Syx is, of course, very random. You can see, surely, that it's not enormously efficient. And this is a game where efficiency really, really matters. But I like to think that at least some of you kind of like that in a sick way. In a sick, certain kind of way. I'm not actually sure why so little progress is being made on these 2 multi-crawler breeders that I kind of slated for construction so long ago at this point. Yeah, I don't really know why that's taken as long as it has for any progress to be made down there. I've kind of been assuming that it's just because I don't have anybody living anywhere near there, so the kind of the odd job workforce has other things to do. But I could be wrong. I don't really know. How about this? Same goes, I think, for this stone mine. It's just so far from everybody that it doesn't get prioritized. I can't help but notice that the workforce just went down. Yeah, so this other laboratory got built. So there we go, our innovation will shoot up, and I forgot immediately that I was supposed to save some for stonemasonry and just started spaffing it all up the walls on improving my bolter crawlers. Which, you know, as far as a place to spend my innovation goes, that's a pretty good one. I do need to do that. Oh, and we now employ over 50 in our laboratories, which will actually get us access to a load more innovation. That's always handy little boost. Uh-oh, I need to build a janitor down here. Things are degrading. I think that when these 2 multi-crawler breeders come online, we will possibly for the first time actually make enough meat. Possibly. Maybe. Please. Please. I just want enough meat. Would it actually be better for me to lower the food servings back down to 1? Hang on, I can probably find out. So food servings is very valuable compared to where is food preference, which is quite valuable. So no, actually I think that it is more valuable just to give them increased access to food as opposed to how much do they value food, the number of food days? Not that much. Okay, yes. They actually enjoy melee training, so at some point I should give them a training ground as well. Which is where subjects are trained into soldiers. As long as soldiers can still work, that's fine. Let's build a training ground. Let's see. And let's make sure it's got some weird little nipples. Because we are the bugs. Just going to go ahead and put some pillars in here to reduce the material cost. This has a capacity of 96 soldiers. And will probably take a while to build, but they'll get there. would really like to know why this isn't being built. Do I now have enough innovation? Yes, so I can unlock masonry, which is very good. And then I'm just going to spaff the rest of my innovation on bolter crawler output. So I'm going to let them finish this training ground. And then I'll make a stone cutter. It's possible that I should have done this much earlier. I think they actually enjoy training. And of course, having some amount of kind of military, is the word I'm looking for, presence, I guess, will help persuade people not to mess with us, bro. Not to come and mess with the bugs. I feel like I haven't really gotten into this whole mountain home thing in as much of a way as I was kind of thinking I would. But them not actually filling the homes that I made available for them here is part of the reason for that, to be fair. So, I mean, you know, I feel somewhat justified in that. I'm kind of just waiting on carpentry again, so I'm wondering if maybe I should make another carpenter. They work so slow. Mind you, I did half the workforce. So, maybe that's why. I feel like my available workforce just suddenly got cut in half again. So what finished? Something must have finished. It wasn't the stone mine, was it? No. Where did all of my workforce go? Well, maybe we'll never know. Wow, there's a lot of useful tabs that I hadn't really delved into here. I mean, there's a work priority tab that I definitely should be doing something with. But I can kind of monitor what's getting done here and what isn't. Anyway, currently, yes, as I said, the construction is mainly being held up by a lack of furniture. And there's not that much I can do about that right now, so we'll just accept it and put more innovation into bolter crawler breeding. I mean, I could actually spend some of it on making carpenters work faster, but I'm not going to right now, if ever, to put it bluntly. I'm sure I will actually ever, you know, at some point I probably will. We could definitely use more people working in the clay pits as well, but it's just, well, I don't have enough people to actually spread around. I can probably give people more food. I think we have enough food to go around. And soon, I am quite excited for this, soon we will also have some booze. That, I feel, is going to be monumentous. People like booze, right? Especially bug people. The gods have forsaken bug people, and the rains have stopped. It'll be fine, I'm sure. We'll figure something out. As we still wait for furniture for construction. This is kind of the theme here for a while. But things down in this southern area really just aren't being built. Perhaps I could. There is a. Where is it? There's a thing. There is a thing. There is a building, a workstation, a marker you put down which can employ builders. Builders perform jobs the same way odd jobbers do. So this is just an area to say build here. Yes? This just kind of forces people to come down and work in this area. So if I can just say, guys, seriously, come and build this bolt-crawler breeder, then they will. Okay. That's an interesting way of doing that. And I can actually just place one and ask 20 people to work from it. Okay. So now there are actually finally people working on this. That's as I say, that's an interesting way of doing that, I feel. I think we're actually making more meat than we're using. Are we? Perhaps not, I don't know. For a moment there it looked good. But the consumption just shoots up every time. When the bug people notice that there is enough meat, boy do they eat the meat. Okay, what if I put the food servings down to 1.5 again? Then maybe they will... Then maybe they will have enough meat. I really want them to finish this bolt-crawler breeder. They literally like working here. It would be really good for them. It is going to cost more stone than they currently have. Oh god. When the game is telling you that they have some helpful advice to look through, that's not good. Ah! My workforce is suddenly minus 90. Because the training ground's finished. Yes, okay. So... I don't think we can do that right now, guys. There's not enough of you. Oh dear. I just don't have the people. I need more people. What can I do to get more people? I could give them rocks for their homes. What about access to shrines? Could I help with more of those? Would more shrines help, perhaps? I fear this is suddenly not going well. Well, suddenly might be the wrong. It's not actually particularly sudden. Nonetheless, I fear this is not going well. Oh, there's so much meat here at this hauler. Oh my goodness. We need... we need to store the meat somewhere. Can we store the meat in here? Please? Look at it all. Look at it all. There's so much meat. Please take it somewhere so that people can eat it. They would really like it. It's kind of slowly being used. They're sat on 800 meat that's just not going anywhere. Okay, just... I don't understand why, though. Well, the brewery did finish. So at least we've got that too now. Surely that will make them happy. This meat is all just piling up here. And then not really being transported anywhere else at any decent pace. What if we employ lots of people at this warehouse? Many people. Go grab the meat. Go grab the meat. Oh, they did go grab the meat. Apologies, I got excited and yelled. But they did go grab the meat. Could it be that we actually have more meat than meets the eye? That was mediocre, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, hang on. Was the problem logistics all along? It surely can't be. I just suddenly noticed that there was 800 meat sitting on this hauler. And even now, as our warehouses are filling of meat, there's still 800 meat on this hauler. I don't truly understand why. But it is being taken away. Not very quickly, but it is being taken away. We are also providing booze now. They have some access to drinks. So that has obviously made people much happier. I think that perhaps the wise thing to do in this situation would be to start breeding. I think it's time. I'm gonna start a Garthimi breeding program. It just makes sense. There's no two ways about it. Now, if there's any building that needs nipples, then surely it's the Garthimi breeder. Alright. Make the breeding... Make the breeding spots. What an absolutely vile thing to say. And I can make that relatively, materially efficient. Like so. Plenty of humidifiers, of course. Get the breeding room good and sweaty. Wouldn't want the breeders drying out now, would we? I think I can actually do this slightly better here. This is going to be a weird shape now, but... I mean, it's a Garthimi breeding room, it's always going to be weird. I think it's supposed to be weird. It would be weird if it wasn't weird. I am fairly certain that yes, I figured out the daycare earlier, because we're obviously going to need one of those too. Somewhere for the kids to be indoctrinated. Literally. Okay, that's good. Nice simple building. Oh, that does need cloth, which I don't think we're making. This still just has around 800 meat, by the way. I don't know if I'll ever get it. But we have reached a new level, a Prontix Ray, which gives us some nobles, which our people will like quite a lot. But we have to make chambers for them and then choose which nobles to promote. But it means we can make like a noble of the bolter crawler breeder industry or something like that, which is a good thing, obviously. But I want to set up the breeding first. Dare I ask whether we could maybe start training some people? What if I just have 12 people just kind of training away? So when these people become trained... here we go, yeah, army. 12. They're not... Are they removed from the workforce? I don't think so, but I also couldn't necessarily confidently say either way. Like, if I have these people training, and then I look at this person, can I see your skills, sir? Well, I'm going to be honest, I don't necessarily know. Apparently it would take 100 days for them to reach max level, but I don't want to rob from the workforce is the problem. So I'm gonna just kind of sort of ignore that right now. Apparently I still have rooms with workload issues. I don't know which. My bakery has a workload issue, which, yep. Oh, my tailors definitely have a workload issue. Oh yeah, we have not enough leather. Well, I could sort of resolve that a little bit. And sorry for talking so British there. I could resolve that by turning one or two of my hunters onto kind of a leather focus, or by making more Auroch pastures. We are not making enough clay, so I think I am going to have to increase the number of clay pit workers here, which the Garthimi like, so that's kind of a good thing as well. We once more have no stone. I keep ending up in this situation on account of still not having a working stone mine. Which I'm sure will eventually be resolved, but when, I do not know. It does also occur to me that this brewery relies on coal, which I'm not actually mining. I am relatively close to some in my up by my stone mine here, so I'm sure I can very quickly make a coal mine whenever, just as soon as I need one. I should probably clear a load of this mountain here in preparation for that. I'm sure that will get done with much haste. Because we don't have a workforce problem, no. Did the people like their, me increasing their access to religion, by the way? I mean, they're at 80% access already to shrines. It's just the quality of them that's poor because I haven't unlocked a research for them. An upgrade, rather, for them. The stone problem is genuinely very important. That does need solving sooner rather than later. And there's kind of a number of reasons leading to that not being done. One is that I'm genuinely not making much furniture. I would be tempted to import a load in, but I think it's quite expensive. Yeah, it's 500. I mean, that's why I'm exporting it, of course. But I'm never making enough to actually export any. I do have enough access, I do have enough innovation to slightly improve my output for furniture. Slightly is an understatement, though. We are finally actually lowering the amount of meat on this hauler here, which isn't necessarily a good thing, actually. We simply consume such prodigious quantities of meat, us bugs. I'm finding it quite difficult to say whether or not, or to say for sure whether or not I'm making great progress here. How much? This is making 5 leather per day. That's not bad, but this hunter is doing a lot better. I think I am going to have to switch more of these hunters over to leather production. Just to try and get the clothing production back on track. Because that is going to be upsetting people relatively soon as they lose access to clothes, yeah. Our pottery reserves are currently full. Let's sell some. Oh, we actually already are. Is there no buyer? Or is the radius... Yes, the radius for my export depot is actually just not large enough. There we go. Just pull that from further. So now we can make a little bit more money from selling pottery. It's not going to be a lot. It really isn't going to be a lot, actually. It's going to be a very, very small amount of money. But every little helps. The people like for us to have money. Having about 100,000 in our coffers is, well, it's giving 9% fulfillment for the rich's need. The reason I haven't jumped at the possibility of getting some nobles in, by the way, is because I believe they need some pretty fancy stuff. So to make a chamber in the first place requires cut stone, gems, and cloth. Yeah, so that is why. Did this get cleared? Oh, it is being cleared. Okay. Because I am going to need that coal mine. I could probably just import coal. I don't know how expensive it is. Not very. Okay, let's just make sure we don't run out of coal, because if we do, then our booze production will stop, and that would be bad. I am actually going to increase the number of people we employ in the brewer, actually. Because I think that will make us slightly positive in our PIVA production versus consumption, but I could be wrong. No, it won't. It's the same thing as our meat production. When I look at these, you know, input and output, production and consumption, of course, the consumption, it's like looking at production graphs in Factorio, actually. It will show you that you're consuming 40 of it, but that's because you're only producing 40 of it. Your consumption cap may, in fact, be much higher. I think is the best way of putting that. Yes, we need fabric for the daycare. I'm probably going to just have to import that for now. It's not crazy expensive, so just go for that. I don't think I actually have anywhere set up to store it right now. And I want to devote a load of space to it because I'm basically just using it for construction. I can't remember whether or not the daycare will actually consume fabric. I know that it will be used for maintenance, but I'm not sure if there's any like direct consumption. But we'll find that out. The population has crossed over 700 now. And we still don't have a stone mine. But it's getting closer. It's getting closer. All of our furniture just keeps getting disappeared. It's all being used on maintenance. Oh dear. So, okay, what that tells me is that I'm genuinely not producing enough. So I'm going to have to make another carpenter. If it was simply being slowly used by various constructions, that would be different, but we genuinely just don't make enough. Where is my, like, basic warehouse that stores wood and such? That's one of them. I'm just going to pop one down here. And wait for these to be built rather steadily because we, once again, we don't really have any stone because of the stone mine problem, which itself struggles from a lack of stone. Interesting when you really think about it. We can't make our stone mine because we don't have enough furniture, and I can't make another carpenter because I don't have enough stone. Things that make you go, We should be able to solve these problems. I'm sure of it. I believe that we can overcome this. At a certain point, do you just import stone? I mean, it must be cheap, right? Buy price 131, maybe not. Oh, the glorious nation of usurpers are demanding a ransom from us. Which is tough. But I think I'm going to go ahead and pay up. Because I can't defend myself, so I simply have no choice. Right, this warehouse serves almost exclusively for the storage of wood. Ignore all other instruction. There we go. Well, wood and furniture. Wood which it turned out we actually had a lot of lying around. I suppose somewhere deep down inside I knew that. And now we're just waiting for stone to be gathered in. Please find more stone. Okay, there's plenty of stone queued to be gathered, it's just taking a hot minute to go and gather. It would probably be faster to just dig some paths into the mountain. Which, like, I think I want to do anyway, so I'm just going to do that. But that is quite a slow way of generating stone, so shouldn't really be relying on it too much for that purpose. Okay, here we go, another carpenter, finally about to finish. Which should let us actually stockpile furniture, rather than having it pretty much all going on to maintenance. Which maybe means we can finally build this stone mine. Maybe. Or maybe not. Rather worrying if not. I mean, it's kind of looking like not though. Where's it all going? Seriously, where's it all going? I'm worried. Okay, it's all going to the daycare. Oh, the breeder, we're breeding. I don't know when it happened, but we started breeding. Whoa, calm your jazz, calm your jazz. Don't, look, I understand that everybody wants to volunteer to work at the Garthimi factory. But cool your jets. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that working in the Garthimi breeder is one of the more popular jobs. But, multiple reasons why we can't just throw everybody at that job. One, it costs meat. And two, I don't have a daycare ready. Alright, we now, well, momentarily will have a daycare ready. Ooh, lovely purple carpets, I must say. When it finally finishes, there we go. Right, I don't actually think we have any children yet. It does take a hot minute for them to make any. Population, children. Well, we have 24 children. That was quick. Can I put a cap on the number of children? Forces your subjects to breed harder and faster. Whoa. Whoa. So how many children can this actually... Available services, 59. Right? So... Do I just need to set my child limit at 59? Let's just go with 50, so it's a clean number. Oh, I actually can't do that. Oh, because this is not this is like natural breeding, which I don't think this. No, the Garthimi don't actually do that. So I'm not sure I actually can place a limit on the number of children. I just regulate how many we're making at any given time. So I do have more aspiring immigrants now, but I think this is the point where I want to stop accepting immigrants and just start, well, breeding. If we're about to finish this stone mine, though, I am going to have to take some immigrants just to be able to actually do the work here. Yeah, I am going to have to accept more. Okay, fine. We'll set the number at 1,000. That's where I'll limit the immigration at. And I'm going to make some more cave houses. How big is the longhouse? It's 5 by 6. I'm gonna make some of those in the caves. See if people will move in. And then I'll make a little space here to put amenities and such. Oh, I need to wait. Right. Can it please be built? I don't understand why it's not being built. I have enough furniture. I have workforce. Surely they're not all mining. They're all working on the bolter crawler breeders, maybe? I still have a forage order there. Don't cancel jobs. Do I have any more forage orders still kicking around? I don't think so. Apologies, I feel like this might have been a little bit frenetic and scatterbrained at times. Obviously that's not my intention. But here we are. Man, the game's pooping sounds are really gross. I can do naught but apologise. The pooping sounds cannot be individually volume adjusted. Trust me, I wish they could. me go ahead and copy this large longhouse compound and stick one over here. And then just make sure it's got some humidifiers. Well. Alright, there you go. We now have enough housing. Please build this mine. I'm gonna use the workstation again. Come on. Build the mine. Well, now they're all just mining instead. Which is also quite valuable, don't get me wrong. But it's not what I had in mind. Let's change the radius. Please just work on this construction. They genuinely don't seem to think they can, and I don't understand why. Well... honestly, it beats me. I'm sure they'll get around to it eventually. Alright, we now have 40 children. I don't know how long it takes for a Garthimi child to, you know, become a not child. Where is a child? Allow me to observe a child, please. Are there no children in the daycare? Where are all the kids at? Oh, they're here somewhere. I don't know where, but they're here somewhere. Are you a child? Tending to the children. Tending to the children. Where? What children? Is the child in the room with us now? Well, we may never know. We do appear to actually be making money relatively consistently. I think pottery is the main driver for that, right? Yeah, pottery. Actually, no, we're making more off of furniture. We're not selling as much of it, but it's worth more. Oh, I think we'll finally be able to upgrade this market. No, yeah, this market. No, we need some stone, which, once again, we somehow have none of. I'm determined to get this stone mine running in this episode. It shouldn't matter, you know? But it does. Oh, there is another forage job left over here. I don't know how many of those I have still kicking around on the map. I don't think any. I think that's all of them. Oh my goodness, it's happening. It's happening. Sorry, when I say it's happening, I mean everything is calm, all is well. There is no need to be alarmed. But we are finally going to have a stone mine. My goodness, look at it, it's beautiful. And it can employ up to 200 and something people, but I'm just going to limit that to 50 for now. Some people did die of heat stroke, but that's not a big deal. There was a heat wave, apparently. I'm going to go ahead and make use of a hauler here again. Because it just seems like a good idea. If we can just clear this space here. And this is obviously for stone. Well, there you go. Apparently that will produce 235 stone per day with 50 miners. And it's one of the jobs that people actually like. So that's good. With an actual consistent source of stone, that means that I will now feel okay producing my own cut stone, which will kind of give us access to a lot more things. So whilst this has been extremely scattered, I think, in terms of progress and quality of gameplay, I believe that an upwards trajectory has finally been achieved. And I mean, look at us go. We're even finally making these Baltic crawler breeders. So what's going to happen in the next episode will be basically a continuation of the breeding. Oh, I found a child. They're being sick. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Ah, here we go. Days as a child, 16. I knew that information had to be there somewhere, so it doesn't take them long to grow to adulthood. Anyway, yes, in the next episode we're going to be kind of focusing on producing more native population to sort of fill out our industries properly. Set up a lot more mines. We're going to be mining coal, gems, hopefully ore as well. And then we can, with, you know, more kind of quote-unquote spare population, we can finally actually think about military properly. Alright, very good. Thanks for hanging out. I'm trying to make these videos longer, because I feel like an hour and a half is a little bit short for this style of content, and I will have more time in the near future. Part of the reason I've been so strapped for time lately is because my wife has been away for nearly 2 months now, which has left me looking after the dog on my own, so I've only been able to record these when Dina is in daycare, which she is today, but yeah, in about 2 weeks my wife is back, so then I can finally function more like a normal human again. Oh, I'm looking forward to that so much, for a number of reasons, obviously. Anyway, thank you for hanging out, and hopefully another of my videos just automatically plays now. So, I'll see you in a few seconds. Goodbye.